Hey guys, it's Paul from The Awesomer, and I am here in Sweden, home country of Volvo, to drive the brand new 2025 Volvo XC90. This is the T8 model. This is the top of the line version. It's a plug-in hybrid. It's the most powerful. There's also a B5, which is a Turbo 4 version, and there is a B6, which is a turbocharged, supercharged version. But this is going to be your most powerful, and it's also a plug-in hybrid, so you get the benefit of being able to drive it on pure electric power in the city or for short runs. So let's take a look and see what the new XC90 has to offer. So a few things to note about the new model here is we've got a new design for the Thor's Hammer headlights. It's a little skinnier, a little bit more modern, and then our grille has this great diagonal, dynamic look to it, something that we haven't seen in Volvos prior to this year. From the side, the XC90 looks very similar to how it has in the past. I think the biggest change is you've got these new 22-inch wheels on the T8 model here. These are quite large, and you'll notice that we've got these winter Scorpion tires on it. That's because we're here in Scandinavia, where it could snow at any time, although right now it's in the 40s and very pleasant, and we have this beautiful lake view here, so what's not to like? Now on the back of the XC90, there have been some minor changes to the design, but overall it looks very similar to the 2024 model in recent years as well. I've always liked this sort of curved light design. It's distinctively Volvo. You can tell it's a Volvo from some distance away. And the overall look is very put together, clean, and sophisticated, which is what you expect from a Swedish car. Now the B5 engine will give you 250 horsepower, while the B6 makes 295, and the T8 here has the most powerful drivetrain, putting out 455 horsepower and more than 500 pound-feet of torque. It's an impressive drivetrain, and it also gives you 32 miles of pure electric range, which is great when you want to drive in the city or short distances. And the T8 will also go from 0 to 62 miles per hour, or that's 100 kilometers per hour here in Sweden. And that will do it in just over 5 seconds, about 5.4 seconds to go from 0 to 62. There have been a few changes to the interior for the XC90 this year, and the most notable one is the new vents. These vents are taller and more vertically oriented. And then we have this new larger touchscreen. It's 11.2 inches diagonal. Instead of it being sort of integrated into the dash, it sits more off the dash, kind of like a tablet. I'm not always a big fan of that kind of implementation because it feels like a little bit of an afterthought, but it's tastefully done here, and I think the overall experience is better because the screen is bigger. Here we can get a look at some of the really nice materials here. This is obviously the most tricked out version, and you've got this, wood grain here, and the beautiful aluminum Bowers & Wilkins speaker grills. Those are actually chemically etched to form those openings to make them acoustically transparent. And then these seats are, premium leather with this nice hexagonal stitching as well. It's a really beautiful look, and the seats are really comfortable. And a few other things of note here. We've got this shift lever that is an Oriflame crystal, very fancy. And then shifting is very simple. Push forward to go reverse, push reverse to go drive. You've got a park button here, and then the engine stop start is actually a dial. So you twist it this way to start, this way to stop. Something else new in the center console is this has been redesigned. So you've got what they're calling a 2+1 cup holder arrangement. So you can store 2 regular cups, or you can store a can of Red Bull or another skinny can here in the middle. You can't really mix and match because one will get in the way of the others. And then there's a small holder here, which is good for a smaller phone, but it's a little tight if you've got something like my phone, which is a 16 Pro Max. And then you also have your wireless charging tray here. Underneath the center armrests, there's a small storage area. It's good enough for some keys or a wallet and a couple of small items. And then you have USB-C charging ports here. One of these connects to the car audio system, and the other one is just for charging. And then you've got your old 12-volt connector as well for plugging 12-volt DC items in. I've spent some time now in both the B5 and the T8 XC90. And just a few observations. The B5, which has the more basic suspension, is actually really good. It's smooth. It feels very controlled. They've done some really impressive things in terms of adjusting the spring rates and just making it a more comfortable and sort of overall better controlled, sort of natural feeling to that vehicle. The T8, this particular one has the air suspension, which I really haven't had a chance to put through its paces because the roads here are just so smooth. But one thing that I have noticed is that you do get some of these abilities in here where you can adjust the height, and the height either dynamically adjusts based on the mode that you're in, or you can adjust the height when you want to enter or exit the vehicle, which is really nice to have. A couple of other things is that the B5, it's got plenty of power. You know, it's got 250 horsepower, but this one here with the T8, the 455 horsepower, it launches really fast. It's got this great passing power. Overall, just something that, you know, if you want to have that sort of extra get up and go, plus you get that bonus of being able to drive on pure EV power. So if you're in the city or you have short distances to travel to work, you plug in every night, and every day you can drive 32 miles without having to use any gasoline. Volvo's steering is very, very nicely weighted. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. You feel like you're in control of the XC90, but you also don't feel like you have to work really hard to do it. And I think that's just something that Volvo tries to do with their vehicles, is make it feel like you're just comfortable and you don't have to work too hard, but you're not disconnected from the road either. They don't want you to feel distracted. They don't want you to fall asleep behind the wheel, but you know, which you can do in some super comfortable SUVs. And that's the thing that I really like about Volvo, is it's just right there in this sort of sweet spot of comfort and command. So one of the more notable changes for 2025 is this new Google built-in interface. It was an Android-based interface in the past. This Google built-in is a more intuitive and modern interface. It's really, really usable. I like that the home screen gives you everything you need in one place. So over here, you've got your navigation. You can get to your media here. On this little tile, you'll be able to connect to your phone. In my case, that would be an Apple phone using CarPlay, which I don't have connected at the moment. Then these buttons here are contextual based on what screen you're on and what you're doing in the vehicle. And then you always have your climate controls at the bottom for quick access to the climate. And if we hit this button here, this takes us in to our other apps and settings for the vehicle. You'll notice that you have access to the Google Play Store here, so you can download a variety of apps there. Getting out of the menus is really easy. You just hit this little bar at the bottom, takes you back to the home screen. Really intuitive, really easy. It also has built-in Google Assistant support, so I can say, "Hey Google, where am I located right now?"
Your current location is Shobo Municipality.
"Hey Google, what's the temperature outside right now?"
The current temperature in Sovda is 44 degrees.
"Hey Google, tell me a joke."
What do you get when you put a vest on an alligator? An investigator.
The Bowers & Wilkins audio system has this pretty nifty demo, which shows off just how good the sound system in here is. And it is quite spectacular. Really great surround sound. You can't really hear it here on the video, but it's like being in a concert. We have a pure digital dashboard here. I think it's really nicely designed. It takes advantage of sort of oval shape. And in the center, you've got enough room that you can put a full navigational map. So if you don't want to look at the center console, you can keep your eyes on the road ahead. There is also a head-up display, which you can use to see turn-by-turn directions, as well as your current speed limit, those sort of things. The one thing that you do have to take a little bit of time to get used to in modern Volvo vehicles is the lack of physical controls. And I know this is part of their safety initiatives and part of their sort of overall usability initiatives, but there are very limited buttons here. You have one knob to control volume, pause and play your audio. another one to open the glove box, turn on your hazards and your defrosters, and that's basically it. Everything else is controlled to the touchscreen, including the climate controls. But once you get used to it, it's not a problem, and really not, I don't find it distracting at all. So as we get into the back seat, we'll see that this is a 3-row that is configured with a bench seat that folds in a 40-20-40 split. Gives you a lot of versatility in terms of how many people you can carry. This is a setup for 7 passengers. So you've got 2 in the front, 3 in the middle, and 2 in the back. Now, one thing I did notice, which I was very happy about, is that there is enough room for a 6-foot-tall person to sit behind another 6-foot-tall person in the second row of the XC90. Something that doesn't always work, and sometimes my knees are touching the seat in front of me, but they are not, and I have a couple of inches here. So as expected, the third row of seats is definitely for kids. I cannot fit back here. I can't even move my leg all the way around. So I would say kids will be happy back here. Adults, not so much. It was a little bit of yoga just to even get into the third row, and my knees do not clear the back of the seat. Now I'm 6 feet tall, so just keep that in mind. But there are some 3-row SUVs that I can fit in comfortably. On the plus side, if you're a kid, you got a cup holder, you got a little place to put your gadgets, and your own vents. So there you go. The panoramic moonroof here, it opens with this touch-based control, so you sort of slide your finger back along it, and that's going to slide the roof all the way open. Brings a lot of light into the cabin. It's getting to be sunset here, so it's not super bright, but it's really gives a lot of sort of airy feel to the cabin overall. This touch-based control just takes a little bit of getting used to because you sort of slide your finger on it, but if you push your finger up on it instead of slide it, it's going to open the front part of the moonroof. Back here behind the third row, there is not a lot of room when you have a third row in use. We've got enough luggage here for 2 people for a weekend, and that's about it. Now, to be fair, if you fold down the third row and you fold down the second row, you get a decent amount of cargo space. In fact, you get up to 70.8 cubic feet in the mild hybrid and 69.2 cubic feet in the plug-in hybrid. So there really is a lot to like about the 2025 Volvo XC90. It's more refined than ever. It's always been a refined vehicle, but it's even better with the suspension improvements. I love the air suspension in the T8 here. And Volvo did a great job with the interior design as well. It's not that different than before, but it feels different. It's more refined. I like the new dashboard design, the bigger screen in the center. The Google built in is an improvement and feels more intuitive than ever before, and it's faster as well. And overall drivetrain is great, especially on the T8 here, being able to go from pure EV mode into a traditional hybrid mode, and it's quick and it's capable. And I think Volvo did a great job with the XC90 this year.